The Tao of Self-Confidence, Episode 848. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have an amazing lady on the show today. She is a life coach for Asian women, and I'm super excited to have her on the podcast today. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Claudia Chan. Claudia, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Hi, Sheena. I'm so excited to be on this podcast. I love hearing this intro because I'm like, oh, I've heard so many of the podcasts and I'm finally on this podcast. So as Sheena was telling you, my name is Claudia Chen. I am a life coach for Asian women. I help them let go of people-pleasing behaviors. I help them let go of guilt and resentment so that they can go after what they want. And for myself, I have a 5-year-old son and I'm married and we live in Toronto. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Claudia, what's your cultural background?
I am Chinese. I was born in Hong Kong and came to Canada when I was 11. So I'm Chinese Canadian.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Claudia, what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
I love this quote by Christina Grimmie. She had passed away because of a shooting incident. And her quote is, confidence is not, they will like me. Confidence is, I'll be fine if they don't. And I really like this quote because a lot of people are concerned about what other people will say about them. And if you think about it, it's like for this one moment when another person turn around and ask you, hey, what are you doing? And then if you really think about it, the next moment they will forget about you, but you in turn hold on to this one moment and you use that to define your life. And so we're so concerned with how other people are going to judge us, what they're going to say about us so that we stop ourselves from going after what we want. So I think it's really important to learn about how to deal with all these negative emotions.
Thanks for sharing that. And, I love that quote. And especially as Asian women, we're so programmed to people please, right? That we forget to honor ourselves. We forget to take care of ourselves. And because of that, we go through so many things, right? Low self-esteem, not feeling good enough. We're always seeking other people's approval. And that really hurts us in our mental health. So it's important to take care of ourselves, to realize, not everyone's going to like us and that's okay. And we just keep moving forward. So I really love that quote that you mentioned. And Claudia, in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
So for myself, I find that self-confidence is the ability to love myself, support myself, and have my own back and be proud of myself, especially when I fail. So knowing that when I fail, I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm not going to say horrible things about me. I am my own best friend, so I can pick myself up and keep going until I reach the goal. And which means I think we intellectually, we understand this. We understand that we are not defined by our failures. And we know that when we try new things, we're going to fail. But deep down, we're so very scared of going ahead with trying new things because deep down, we feel that when we fail, we are not worthy. We're not good enough. But failing is really just a lesson and success is just a result, right? So failure doesn't make us less worthy. Success doesn't make us more worthy. We are 100% worthy. And we do these things because we want to challenge ourselves and we want to see what we want to do. And we actually want to do that so that we can live our best lives. So the key to confidence is truly loving ourselves and have our own back so that it brings us forward so that we can try all these scary things.
I love it. And it's so important to have our own back, to be our number one cheerleader, especially when times are tough. I know sometimes we feel like we're all alone, but that's why support systems like this is very important so that it also helps you, become your very best friend, to go out there and take care of yourself, to be kinder. And so I really love, what you mentioned. And also failure we always see it as the end of all ends, but really it's just feedback, right? It's just telling you, this isn't working, so try something else, right? And then we might have to go through it maybe 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, even 10,000 times, but that's part of life. And if we just saw failure as feedback, I mean, our confidence would definitely soar because we know, it's just one thing that wasn't working, right? And we just move on to the next. So I love your definition of self confidence. And Claudia, what was your life like before you discovered self confidence?
It's such a interesting question because before I had coaching, what I did was I blamed a lot on the things, many things in my life, and I compared myself with many people. So blaming and comparison were the two things that I was doing a lot. Like I blame the fact that I have to work full time, so I didn't have enough time to do what I want. I'll blame my kid for taking up a lot of my time and I couldn't split my attention. And I'll blame my husband, even though he does a lot of work at home, I still kind of wanted him to do more. And I would constantly compare myself to other people. I'll say things like, well, she can do this because she's a stay-at-home mom, or she can do that because she has help around the house. So this constant blaming and comparing myself was really like I was using those things as reasons why I couldn't do something. But in reality, it was really because I was scared of putting myself out there. I was scared of failing. I was scared of feeling humiliated that other people will make fun of me, right? And saying things like, "Oh, I don't know why she did that. That's so stupid." Or like I would feel so embarrassed and like I make a fool out of myself. And all these fears were the real reason why I was holding myself back. And it wasn't until after I did coaching that I realized that I was just using all these external reasons as an excuse, like to cover up of why I couldn't make myself go forward. So for me, it's all about learning to process all these negative information, all these negative emotions, so that I'm willing to face these negative emotions. So I'm willing to feel humiliated and feel embarrassed so I can actually go ahead and do these big things.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think we all go through that, being scared of making a fool out of ourselves, especially in a culture where it's seen that anything we do outside our culture is considered shameful, especially for women. So it really takes a lot out of us to go out there and even take the first step. And like you mentioned, coaching really helped you come out of that. I'd like to know a little bit more, what was that? Was that part of your aha moment that really propelled you to be who you are today? If you can share with us.
Yeah, in terms of the aha moment, it was really understanding what I was really thinking about. It was understanding my deep down belief of, hey, I couldn't, like, I was always wishing, like I remember I've always wished that my mom would be more supportive of me instead of always going against what I want so that I could go for the thing. But it's not what she says. It's me believing that I couldn't actually go ahead and do these things. So it's the understanding of what my own beliefs are so that I can break out of that. And it takes time. It's not just like you understand it and you can start going outside and put yourself out there. It takes a lot of time because a lot of these beliefs we have it because our brain actually wants to keep us safe. It wants to protect us. And anytime like you can say all you want, oh, you just have to go and ask this person. Oh, you just have to go outside out there and put yourself out there. But it's not as simple as that because when our brain perceive that situation to be unsafe for us, it's dangerous for us, it will come up with this protective mechanism to stop us from going ahead. So when we actually learn to process these negative emotions, that's when we learn to bring the safety back within us so that we can feel safer to step outside of our own discomfort. And it actually is very fascinating because I've always like to this day I'm still working on myself, right? I don't think anyone who is in this business world or anyone who's in this growth trajectory, they are always trying to get themselves out of their comfort zone, put themselves into discomfort. And in order to do that, we actually have to know that we're safe in a safe space to do it so that we can actually go ahead and do that instead of pushing ourselves and shaming ourselves for not being able to do that thing.
Thanks for sharing that. I know it takes a lot of work to unprogram the things we've learned growing up, right? Especially in our culture, especially when you're going out there, forging your own path, doing your own thing. Of course, our parents will never understand, right? Because they want safety and stability. And to be honest, life in general isn't stable, right? I mean, the pandemic has been a great example of that. And we have to learn how to come out of these tough situations and instead of always trying to find the safest way. Of course, we do take care of our safety. We want to make sure that everyone's protected. And that's there's nothing wrong with that. But we also have to learn how to come out of situations that are challenging, right? Hitting roadblocks, because if not, we're not going to build that confidence and courage to go out there and do it, right? And most women who have been able to be successful was being able to, go through the ups and downs of life, right? We're always going to have good days, bad days. We're going to be 100% confident, or we're going to be minus 100% confident. And that's okay. Life is literally like a roller coaster. There's no straight line. And that's why we have to work through it. And Claudia, because of this realization, what's your life been like now?
Well, right now I am a life coach working with other Asian women so that I can guide them through literally is processing these negative emotions. And it's to really help them to understand that it's not the outside circumstance that's holding them back. It's not the husband, it's not their parents, it's not their kids. It is the thoughts and feelings that are holding them back. And once they truly understand this, then they're not afraid to say no anymore. They are more willing to speak up and have their own back no matter what other people say, and they're less likely to be triggered by external events because they know that it is the thoughts and the story around the event that is giving them that emotion. So it's really always magnificent when I see them like tap into this confident part of themselves and embrace who they are so that they can have their own voice. It's always so beautiful when I work with them. And in other areas, I'm now an author to my new book. It's called The Asian Women Trailblazers Who Boss Up. And I'm pursuing my own dream of becoming a speaker while I'm still working full time as a radiation therapist. And I'm super connected with my husband and my son, I have really great relationship with them. So I'm grateful for coaching, how it changed my life.
Thank you so much. And yes, we're super excited for the Asian Women Trailblazers coming out. It's definitely a book that's so needed today with what's been going on with our community and, empowering Asian women to show them that they can show up as our authentic selves. They can go out there and do the things that they want to do, live out their dreams, because life is so short and, it can go away in an instant, literally. So I'm super excited for this book to come out. And I'm so excited for everything that's coming, all the blessings that's coming your way, excited to see you on stage, doing workshops, companies hiring you as a speaker and, getting more women, Asian women out there who need your services. So super excited for that. And Claudia, if our listeners were tuning in to your episode and, she was in her own journey of self-confidence, what'd be that one tip you would give to her?
The one tip that I always give to my clients, there are two of them, which is one, to learn to face the negative emotions so that you can be free from them. And two is you learn to love yourself, that no matter what happens, you got your own back. So it's the two fundamental things that I think is the most important, because anything that we cannot do in life, it's because we're scared of something. And it's always because we are afraid that how other people are going to perceive us. So if we can do it for ourselves, then it doesn't matter what other people say. You can go ahead and become unstoppable.
Thanks for sharing that. And those are great tips. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you, what you do, also want to learn about your coaching services, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yes, I'm always on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram at claudiachan.co. And I also have a podcast called Love, Shine, Flourish. So yeah, you can find me on there. And my website is claudiachan.co also.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Claudia, you can also head on over to the and search for Claudia's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I really just want to thank Claudia today for taking the time to share her story and wisdom with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Claudia.
Thank you, Sheena. It's great to be on your show. And I love hearing your voice.
Not a problem. It was such an honor to have you here today. And to our listeners, this will be our last episode for this season, and we'll be back for a brand new season on September 6th, 2022. So in the meantime, feel free to check out our past episodes, and we'll see you in September. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. You can order your copy of Asian Women Who Boss Up book by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.